Now, you can't just run your online business or software, right? You got to have some hosting. You got to have some hardware, right? Most of us own laptops and stuff, How do we run Microsoft Office without a laptop? It's the same question, right? So what are we going to do when it comes to hardware and hosting? Okay? Here again, you have options, you have certain requirements, and here are the types of requirements you may have, right? I need hardware to run my operating system. I have my databases. I have my programming language. I have my e-commerce software. Where are all these things going to run? Right? I need hardware. I need some hosting, right? And here are the requirements for your hardware, right? You need space, okay, to put the hardware. You need proper temperature for the hardware. So you don't think that you can keep hardware in your closet, okay? Because if you keep it in your closet, it'll blow out in about a year or so, okay? Because there's too much heat there. You need to understand what the server hardware is. What other hardware do you need, right? Do you need routers? Do you need other types of appliances that go with the hardware, okay? What server operating system do you need? What are the database licenses, development languages, security, firewall, antivirus, lot of stuff, okay? And some things that you're not even thinking of, your internet bandwidth and your power. Not only do you need them, you need a backup because your business is online. Internet goes down, you better have a backup running. Otherwise, your server is down, customers will never come back. Okay? Same thing, power. Power, we need multiple backups. Right? Because power, you never know. The guy forgets to put diesel in the generator, So wo bhi nahi, uska bhi backup chahiye. So, no, I'm not kidding. This is how it is. So I saw an installation of, I'm sure you guys have heard of this company called Lehman Brothers, right? Financial thing. So when I was initially working in the US, I saw their setup. You cannot imagine their hardware setup. I'm telling you, cannot imagine. Do you know that their backup for power is what? It's a turbine engine. They have a turbine engine running on backup. So if power goes down, it doesn't take even, it's not supposed to take even a split second, otherwise their systems would go down. It just transforms into the turbine. Imagine the types of backup you need to run businesses online. I'm just giving you an example of very high end. But Amazon does very similarly, okay? There's a hosting provider in the US who's located inside, so by the way, where my hosting is, okay? He's inside a mountain. Oh. Not kidding. He's inside a mountain. Yes?
Which? Amazon?
No. So there's a hosting provider we have. His hardware that we've got from him sits inside a mountain. He guarantees that if there's nuclear war, he'll survive for a day or two. It's okay. I don't want to survive for a day or two when nuclear war comes. But he says he can. Right? I'm not kidding. This is the type of setup that you need if you want to run online. And I'm not trying to scare you. As a small business, you can start whichever way you want. But realize that online, what is the conversion? Do you guys know? How many people that come on your website ultimately buy?
1%.
Great. Somebody that's taken my class multiple times. Now, 1%. That means if 100 people came, only one bought. So if you go down, what happens? Your chances go to what? Half, quarter, lower. Can you imagine that? So you're already going against the tide, and suddenly your software, your hardware goes down. Then what are you going to do? And the costs are very high for you to lose that customer. Because you don't know which one out of the 100 it's going to buy, right? It could be the 99th one, right? So hardware is a very big factor, okay? Not that I'm trying to scare you. Again, here are two options. You can lease your hardware, or you can purchase it, depending on how much money you have and what are you trying to do. You can go either way. If you lease it, there are service, infrastructure service providers. Just like we have SaaS, we have IaaS, okay? Infrastructure as a service, okay? They're infrastructure service providers today, where you can get your hardware. They provide complete hardware with software on a rental basis. No capital cost to you, okay? And basically no skill set required on your end. You can actually just tell them, मेरे को ये चाहिए, मेरे को ये site host करना है. They'll provide you everything on a monthly cost. Okay? Not just your small hosting on an everyday website. Even if you get larger, it doesn't matter. They're able to scale your business. You guys heard of Amazon AWS? Okay? So Amazon AWS is your service provider. They do the same thing. Then there are other companies that do it, right? InfiBeam has, others have. Okay? If you're going to purchase it, you would have to not only purchase the hardware, but you need to purchase all the software associated with it. Okay? You need to set up the infrastructure in place. It's a high capital expenditure. Okay? And skill sets required are a lot. As you have to understand, hardware, software, internet, privacy, security, whatever not. Okay? And going back to the question, what do I want to do? Okay? In most of your cases, it's better off to go lease. Most of your cases. There are some cases, and we, as a business, have opted for this. So we have two. One option is obviously to lease. The other is to purchase. Okay? So we can purchase our own, right? Like I said, as a business, it's for us to decide, do we want to purchase? Do we want to lease? Right? Purchasing only makes sense, okay, when there are such requirements where you're either creating a backup for yourself, okay? So what happens in lease is at times you want to change a provider, right? You may want to change it for cost sake, right? But unfortunately, changing may also take time, right? There is lag in the middle. So you need some places where you can actually have backup, okay? In our case, in our business, what we've done is we've gone out and we've also purchased a set of server. We've put the infrastructure together, maybe not at the level that the lease infrastructure is, but we have a dedicated line coming in, we have an environment for the server, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, as a backup. Again, your business has to gain some scale before you decide to do that. Okay? If you think you'll save money by doing it, no. By buying your own hardware, you cannot save money, right? Because first of all, not just the hardware, you need software licenses. So everything from operating system to databases to software languages, you need to have licenses for each and everything, okay? You need to have people that understand the hardware, okay? Because it's not just that one hardware. You're going to have to buy other appliances that go with it, okay? You know there are a lot of hackers out there. So if you own the hardware, they're going to go after the hardware to hack into it. So you have to purchase software, hardware to create a firewall so they don't get in. So you need expertise for all of this, right? And again, it creates huge amount of expenditure. And again, like I said, not just the hardware itself, you need an infrastructure around the hardware. You need climate control, you need lease lines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So in most cases, leasing or infrastructure as a service probably makes the best sense. Okay? Regardless of how big scale you want to achieve. There was one student of ours kept on saying, I'm going to build the next Flipkart. So what do I need to build the next Flipkart? I told them the same thing. You know what? Just start at lease, okay? Right? When you get too close to Flipkart, then you go out and purchase it. Right? Until then, let's just lease it. Cool? Now, there are two things, right? When you purchase it, when you decide that you're going to purchase it, you can still have two more options. You can have it in your own premise, right? You can decide that you're going to keep it in your own office, your own place or whatever. Or what you do is you put it out at data centers. Basically, you buy the hardware, you don't keep it, you send it out to a data center. Data center are dedicated places where they've built the infrastructure to host these hardware that you buy and own. Okay? So there's a company in India called NetMagic. which has a bunch of data centers in India. Amazon has a bunch of data centers. There's an international company called Rackspace that has a bunch of data centers. What you do is you buy the hardware, you give it to them, they put it inside their facility. There's climate control, there's internet connections, there's backups, there's another backup to power. Whatever you want, they have ready for you. Okay? But the hardware is yours. Like I said, space, power, bandwidth given by them. Okay? And skill sets, if you don't understand how to use the hardware, they have people that will also show you. So you don't have to manage it yourself, they'll manage it for you. You can just buy it and give it to them. Okay? So in case you do have a requirement to buy your own hardware for whatever reason, you probably would opt to put it in a data center. It's called co-locating it. Okay? You put it in a data center somewhere. Got it? Yes. So we've talked about software. We've talked about hardware. What other things do we need to look out for in technology? Let's ask Nitin. Can you share your experiences?
So primarily, if we look at today's environment, right, there are a lot of websites which are running, and websites have almost become the key thing across businesses, right? Whether it's a bank where you have internet banking websites, whether it is a e-commerce company which sells products online, the web presence is very critical. Another aspect is, since the dependency on the website is higher, it is very much expected that these websites are always available. It's no more that you use this website for half an hour or 1 hour in the day, right? They are accessed across by multiple subscribers, lakhs of people, and there is no time limit to it, right? So somebody may access his bank account in the morning, somebody may access it into the night. So one of the key requirements for this website is that they have to be always running, and they have to be there available 24/7. Not only these people need to be running, but they have to be very easily accessible. A consumer experience is very important, right? In whichever way, if consumer is going to a website to buy some products, or he's accessing his account on a bank, or maybe watching a video, if the consumer is not happy with the experience, he's not going to come back. So what this requires is a lot of things at the back end for the website to run. You need the right IT equipment, and the IT equipment has to be up and running all the time, so that the databases, which may be storing the data for the consumers or some other information on that, as well as the applications which really process that data and give it out, they need to be always up and running. So clearly there are for this, if you look at the website as the topmost layer, then there are a lot of underlying layers at the back end to make it up and running, which includes your database, your operating systems, your servers, your storage, and your networking equipment. Now, for all this IT equipment, for them to be running, they need a very controlled environment, right? It requires the power to be always available to them. Power going down means the whole server getting rebooted, the application going down, and clearly the website going down, which means that the business cannot transact on the particular website. So pretty much, there is power requirement. There is also required that the air cooling is good, so that the equipment doesn't get heated, because as many of you must be really aware, the whole whenever the compute happen, the server, storage, they consume power, they really get heated up, and on hitting there can be failures in the equipment, which can again lead to things going down. So it's very important that the humidity, the cooling, right kind of environment is available to this IT equipment. Another critical element of a data center is the connectivity available, right? Maybe your IT equipment is up and running, the applications are running, but at the end of the day, everybody is accessing your website through internet, right? Through network. And it is, in today's world, if you look at the network, people may be accessing through a mobile, they may be accessing it over a broadband connection from home, or it could be accessed from office. So effectively, the data could be coming from multiple sources, but ultimately riding over the internet. So it's very critical that the internet connectivity to the IT equipment is always up and running. So data centers effectively provide a complete environment, including your power, including your right amount of cooling, and the connectivity, such that it never fails. It always keeps running 24/7. Primarily what we look at a server, you can get it in multiple kind of forms, but typically the servers we are used in today are typically a rack-based servers, which means they are they are flat servers going into a rack, and they are measured in form factor of U. So a U basically is when you look at a server from its front, they are like thin things going deep inside. So the height of the server is actually measured in U form factor, right? So 1.75 inches is typically 1 U form factor. So you get servers based on their how powerful they are, what kind of processors, how much RAM, what configuration they have. Based on that, the servers come in form factors of 1U, 2U, 3U kind of form factors, and this basically gets stacked into a typical rack. So these are 19-inch broad racks, and the standard racks are typically form factor of 42U. But there are also different kind of racks. So there are racks for networking equipment, which may be a little different. There are typical racks, standard racks, which will host the standard servers and storage and other equipment and devices. So primarily that is how we look at servers. And servers are can also come in multiple configurations. Typically, I think now the computing has pretty much come to your mobile, right? So I think you pretty much see a mobile being as powerful, as what computers used to be a few years back, right? So they again have either 4-way servers with 4 processors, and then typically they will have very high RAM. And if you look at today's world, the cloud computing has changed things in a major way. So earlier, when NetMagic started its business about 10-15 years back, we used to only offer dedicated servers where customers will come. He takes a few servers and loads his applications or databases independently on every server. And even there was sharing for smaller customers who are just starting off, who don't their websites are not yet being loaded so much. They will just use a shared server, which will mean that multiple customers running on the same physical server. Today, the things have changed thanks to cloud computing. So you can also give virtual servers, right? And the trend is really catching up. So what it means is you actually have a cluster of many physical servers as underlying infrastructure, and every customer can take it's like one slice out of it, a slice of the compute, a slice of the RAM, and a slice of storage as a instance, and they can load their applications and software and really run that. So that really has helped in terms of both bringing the cost down, and second advantage is it is pay as you use, right? So if you have a physical server, you purchase it once, you have paid the money, and then you keep it using for many years. Suppose your business doesn't take off the way you wanted, it's very difficult to return that or get back that investment. So primarily there are, if I have to really look at the key advantages of a data center, Ashish, I would like to really highlight that there are many more advantages, but I would like to primarily focus on 2 key advantages. One advantage is that you have a data center being built by the specialist in that area, and the economies of scale really work in favor of that. So when you have to, as I explained in response to the earlier question, there are so many redundancies have to be built in. You need to have a lot of network coming into it, a lot of fat in networking pipes reaching the data center. You need redundancy in terms of power, etc. So when you want to do it in-house or in a small manner, your costs are one is very high, and secondly, it is not practically to maintain 24/7, because when you run such a large data center on a 24/7 basis, you need people to be looking at every aspect of the data center, and they have to be present all the time. So if one wants to really do all this in-house, it really is not practical. It becomes there's too much of domain knowledge, expertise, and the costs also go fairly high. Second aspect of the whole having hosted outside is that you get the whole benefit of professionally managed facilities which have all the redundancies built into it, and there are further layers of services available on top of it. So it is not just the facility, but you are putting up the data center so that your applications are up and running. So third-party data centers like NetMagic do provide the engineers who can manage your operating system, who can support your database. So something has to fail, those kind of skill sets are available. For in-house, it becomes, you cannot look at all the skills being hired, being available, and it becomes also difficult to attract, all the skills, for a if it is not, IT is not core for your business, then it becomes difficult to attract that kind of talent, right? And it is not just about some basic skills, but today's environment, the security also becomes important. There are a lot of aspects come in where we talk about a security operations center, where a third-party data center operates, specialized security operations center, which keep on monitoring the traffic which is coming to your website and going out. And if there are attacks, they take proactive action. So all these kind of value-added services are available apart from the basic data center. So in summary, I will say it's basically the economies of scale and the kind of the redundancy which is required can be built only at a larger scale. And second is the amount of the services and the skill sets which are available, which may not be possible to do it in-house.
Nitin, thank you for sharing.